What's up guys, and welcome to my first review of a Lexus LC500. This is a 2018 model year and the owner Zygrene drives this every day. This has over 62,000 miles on it and it still looks and feels so premium, so nice. Now, being a 2018, this is one of the older LC500s out there right now, but it's still such a fresh looking and well-designed car. Maybe that's just the first glimpses of my old man energy shining through, but I'm a huge fan of how this car looks and feels. But let's talk about the specs on this car. This one is finished in mica blue on the outside. We have this gorgeous caramel leather interior. I mean, this thing is just draped in leather everywhere. It's stitched even across the dash here. Touching this leather for the first time on camera and it feels so high quality. It has that kind of soft, squishy nature to it without feeling flimsy, and I love that. But let's get on to the mechanicals. This is powered, of course, by the 5-liter naturally aspirated V8 dual overhead cam, 32 valves. It makes 471 horsepower, 398 pound-feet of torque. This car is quite heavy at around 4,300 pounds, but it is a grand touring sports car, not an all-out track weapon by any means. I doubt you'll ever see one of these at a track day. We have a 10-speed torque converter automatic transmission, a much better transmission, I'm hoping, compared to the 8-speed automatic in the IS500 that I reviewed not too long ago. We've got electric power steering, multi-link front and rear suspension. That's a rarity. Only in pretty high-end cars do we get multi-link front. That should improve the overall ride comfort of the car as well as the front-end handling. Now, this particular car was spec'd out with the very affordable $390 limited slip differential. And we have the 21-inch forged wheels. We also have adaptive dampers as standard. Now, this one does not have the performance package, which would have given us rear axle steering. And the owner Zygrene mentioned that there's been a lot of chat online about how the rear axle steering actually somehow induces a lot of low speed understeer, which should be the exact opposite of what it does. But anyways, we're gonna drive this car on my favorite Canyon road and see if it truly is a great driver's car or just a great GT. Love how the steering wheel telescopes out and tilts down to meet you. Slightly dated looking graphic, if I'm being honest, on this LFA inspired gauge cluster. In Sport Sharp mode, we get this very LFA inspired tachometer. Very nice large metal paddle shifters. The shifter in the center console here does not have any up or down shifting functionality, but once we do put it into drive, we can pull forward, or pull towards you rather, to put it into manual mode. There's that V8, barks to life, second gear. Oh wow, these downshifts are really quick. Ooh, it's a lively car. Slightly slow on that upshift. Are you kidding me? These downshifts are so immediate. When I pull the left paddle, I haven't even released it by the time it has completed the downshift. Hit the rev limiter there. 7,300 RPM red line. Not stratospherically high, but higher than basically anything else you'll get nowadays. The steering, being electric power steering, doesn't have a ton of feedback, but it's actually quite good for an EPS. It loads up in the corners, it's nicely weighted, decent on-center feel. Yes. This feels way more sports car than I expected. And for a car that looks this big and is this heavy, you'd expect it to be a bit of a numb driving experience in the corners, but it's actually not. Even without the rear wheel steering. I mean, look at this downshift right here, 2 to 1. Instant. Woo. of this engine sounds, especially towards the red line. The power just builds and builds. It's not an enormously quick car in a straight line, but it's enough. It's enough power. And the benefit of not having something ridiculous like 600 plus horsepower is that you can enjoy winding the engine out in the lower gears. Listen to that. Adaptive dampers doing a great job here at keeping this well over 2-ton body well controlled. It handles the bumps beautifully, even in Sport Plus or Sport Sharp, whatever it's called. Those downshifts, woo! Little bit of slip at that rear end. Beautiful. Oh yeah, it's a little traction limited. Oh yes, what a car. It's so easy to control at the limit. That long wheelbase with a naturally aspirated engine with a super linear power delivery and this responsive transmission and a surprisingly good steering feel. I'm in love with this car already, and I've only been driving it for 10 minutes. Never thought this car would be this good to drive on a canyon road. I always knew it would be a great Grand Tourer. That's how it's marketed, and when you look at the specs on paper, you wouldn't expect anything more or anything less. And yet, on a tight, twisty canyon road, the exact type of environment where this car shouldn't thrive, it truly excels. Even the brakes feel good. Very linear, progressive pedal pressure. I love how when you bounce off the rev limiter, it's not a soft limiter, it actually bounces. I still can't get over how quick these downshifts are. Incredible. Oh yes. We're just on some Goodyear F1 tires, and they feel really good on this car because they're not too grippy. They allow you to play with the limits of this car. With 62,000 miles, this car still drives so damn well. And it feels so fresh and high-end and just perfectly well built. And now when we want to cruise, dial it back into comfort mode, into automatic shifting, perfectly serene. Lots of sound deadening. I barely hear any tire noise. The dual personality of this car truly is something else. It's been a long time since I've been this impressed by a Lexus product. The last time was an original Lexus ISF with a ton of mods thrown at it. The IS500 compared to this, well, you can't even compare them other than the engine being the same, but the engine actually sounds better in this somehow. What an incredible machine. Lexus LC500 is now my new favorite GT car of all time. I would say it used to be the Aston Martin Vantage, the V8 with the manual, the 2014 model year that I drove. I mean, I would say in terms of driving dynamics, that can still give this a run for its money for sure, especially because that one's manual and it feels a bit lighter on its feet. But as an all-around ownership experience, I'm sure the LC500 would be far superior to that Aston. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I would love to own one of these at some point. The issue is I have no practical use case for a car like this right now. Between my NSX and my Integra Type S, I'm basically covered. The only thing I'm missing is a dedicated rear-wheel drive track car. But anyways, that's going on a tangent. a big shout out to Zygrene for letting me review this 2018 LC500. Let me know what you think about this car. Is it a great sports car, or is it just a grand touring machine that has a little bit of sportiness infused? Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.